It's the gusher all of Detroit is talking about. Clean water going down the drain in a vacant house. And neighbors say it ran for years after they reported it. Tonight, the water department responds.
We received our first complaint and we responded back in March.
And angry residents fire back.
Trying to cover themselves so that they don't look so stupid.
So just how long did that water gush at that vacant house on Mark Street after it was reported, and just how big is this problem all across the city of Detroit?
Action News investigator Scott Lewis is here, and he's getting answers. Scott.
You're about to see me put some very pointed questions to the top guy at the Detroit Water Department. He's taking responsibility for part of what happened on Mark Street, but not all of it. Meanwhile, a Channel 7 viewer has put us on to another gusher, this one in a commercial building, and it looks like the leak filled up the entire basement. You could hear it running from outside. Inside the vacant house on Mark Street, the investigators found water gushing from the wall at a rate of 1 gallon every 2 seconds. While across town, 80-year-old Lucille Poe was fretting over a $400 water bill, and they were threatening to shut off her service. Neighbors say this place had been running for 3 years, and they reported it at least 2 years ago. Not so, says the deputy director of the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department.
We received our first complaint and we responded back in March.
They're saying they never got a complaint about that house until March.
Are you kidding me? They're trying to cover their butts. You know, they're trying to cover themselves so that they don't look so stupid.
You'll have to decide who to believe on that one, but Daryl Latimer is taking full responsibility for one thing. When his crews came out here in March, they didn't have the right equipment to do the job. But then, they didn't come back until late August, after a call from the investigators. March, April, May, June, July, August? Just saying.
Somewhere along the line, and I'm not going to be making an excuse, that should never occur. Somewhere along the line there was a miscommunication and the department should have responded to that in a quicker fashion.
Latimer says once they were notified of the leak on Marks, they should have been out there in a day or two.
And I thank you for your report and bringing this to our attention so I can look at our protocols and make sure this situation doesn't occur again.
Just yesterday, we got a tip on another leak that neighbors claim has been running for 2 years. It's a big commercial building with water flowing out of the foundation. It looks like the entire basement is full and overflowing. I was okay with the hip boots, but I'm not doing scuba gear.
You understand? I'm running out there for about 2 years. The fire hasn't been running for about 5 years, and it just cut it off this year, but water's still coming out of the building.
Latimer denies that water's left running in vacant buildings for years. He says once they're notified, they act quickly. So how many leaky buildings are there on the list right now?
In 2008, 2009, 2010, we shut off over 11,000 properties each year or vacant homes. Out of those 11,000, 4,000 of those homes were flooding homes. So we're actively and aggressively pursuing those situations.
4,000 vacant homes a year with water running. That's a lot of waste. And what about 80-year-old Lucille Poe? Latimer says they're working to figure out what caused that huge bill. If it's their problem, they'll correct it. And if she really owes that much, they'll give her time to pay. I don't want to beat up on you, but we do get a lot of calls from people who say they don't feel they get good results when they call customer service. Latimer admits there have been problems in part because of a rash of retirements, but Mayor Bing has directed him to make improvements.
We're in the process of training some newer employees so that we can better respond to some of our customer issues.
Oakland County's top water guy, John McCullough, says he believes about 30% of all the drinking water Detroit produces is lost to leaks within the city limits of Detroit. Daryl Latimer insists it's closer to 17%, but when you add in water used for things like fighting fires and sweeping streets, he says it's about 23% of the water that disappears. And of course, that cost is spread out to every water customer in Southeast Michigan. Scott Lewis, Channel 7 Action News.